Welcome, my YouTube regulars, and welcome to all you filthy net deckers who are probably going to be watching this video. But that's okay. Net decking is an alright thing to do. Especially when you're technically net decking, because this is an internet-based game. I'm here to talk to you about some decks that will be good for climbing the ladder. And I have all the starter decks they have up here as well. So, some of them are edited, some of them are not. Some of them are just fun decks, but there's going to be some decks that are really good for laddering. I'm going to show you guys 4 or 5, depending on how long the video goes, that is really good for link laddering. Link laddering? This is not Dokkan. For ranked laddering, I did make it to Platinum last season. I'm currently still in Gold now because, I haven't had the motivation to get on Master Duel for a while because lack of content. So, we're going to start with the first one, which is the most wallet-friendly, is Lunalights. Basically, there's, other than the extra deck, there is, if you don't want to run the Ash Blossoms, if you don't want to run the Solemn Judgment, and you want all gas in the deck, which is really hard to do on Lunalights, by the way, you're going to need to fill out the numbers with something else. The only UR that's basically required is Zephyros, so you have another thing to bounce your Tiger. The only thing other than that in the deck is super rares, and no rarity commons. So this deck is really easy to build. This is the build I use for it. You got 3 sheep, a purple butterfly, 3 tiger. Most important card, one of the most important cards of the deck. The other being Kaleido Chick, Blue Cat at 3, Crimson Fox at 1. 2 Emerald Bird, I think this is Emerald Bird, yep. And 2 Yellow Martin as another way to bounce Lunalight Tiger, of course. You also have 2 Lunalight Wolves, which are your Miracle Fusions for the deck. In the TCG, this looks different. This is OCG ban list, so this is what we play with. This is the same with the 3 Tenkeys, which is really what makes the deck go, which is why you're not having to play things like Allure of Darkness in the deck, or things of that nature. And we move on to the extra deck. You have 3 Panther Dancers, a Cat Dancer. You need at least 1 or 2. I recommend 2, because sometimes it comes up. But if you draw on a chick, you don't need the other one. Okay, sorry, I had to cut there. I live with people. 3 Leo Dancer. The only of archetype UR that exists is Leo. I like to think that that Master Duel has every deck has 1 or 2 URs, and that's what they like to do. Raid Raptor Force Strix searches your Zephyros, which is why you only run 1. If you don't run 4 Strix in the deck, you need to run 3 Zephyros, and I think 1 super rare is better than 3 ultra rares. Almirage, in case you get desperate. IP, in case you get desperate. This one's good for getting more bodies on the field. Appaloosa, in case you ever get there, Access Code, and Shurake. Lunalight Tiger, in combination with Yellow Martin and Zephyros, is an instant, Access Code, instant Shurake, instant Appaloosa, format Appaloosa at that. It's really good. This is a really good deck for laddering. Another one is, of course, you have Invoked Dogmatica Shadal, but I'm not going to go through that. I think the better Invoked variant for laddering, because everybody complains about it as well, is Invoked Dogmatica Eldritch. You have 2 of the Golden Lord himself. This is a bit more expensive, as you can tell. There's not a single common in the deck, and there's so many URs. These are just here to fill shit out. You could replace these with 2 Ecclesias if you wanted to, or an Ecclesia and a 3rd Fleur-de-Lis. This card comes up a lot, which is why it's at 2. 3 Sanguine. 2 Dogmatic Punishment. You could put it at 3 and take out the Judgment if you don't want to run Judgment, but Judgment is easier to obtain because there's a pack for Solemn Judgment on the shop screen for beginners. The extra deck is basically you just want your Invoke package, and the rest doesn't matter unless you want to run stuff like Gustav Max and Lead, which are good. But if you're only running 2 Golden Lord and you usually have 1 in rotation and 1 in the deck, you don't want to really reliably you can't really reliably go into things like Gustav anyway. And you have your 2 Meltdowns, your 2 Eldlands. You have 1 of these, just so you have more things to recycle into with your Eldritch Trap cards, the Golden Land ones, because you only have 3 Sanguines in the deck. And you run 2 Prosperity and 2 Extra. If you're running pure Eldritch, these are at 3, because you can just dump your extra deck, it doesn't matter. And you have the 1 Nadir, which you'd love to play at 2 because of TCG, but you can't, which is why you only have 1 Ecclesia. And of course you have the Invo package of 2 Invocation, 3 Alistair, but that's a given in any invoked deck. Another one that I personally like using, if you enjoy a long grindy game of just 1 turn, because the setup for this deck is long. It's a long setup to end on a really good board, and there's a lot of moving pieces where if you fuck up once, you could end up with a subpar board as compared to most. This is not quite as good as the Brave Engine version that is currently in the TCG, but we don't have that in Master Duel yet, so this is what we have. I'm also doing some experimental stuff in here, and believe it or not, those Mass Change number 2 that you're seeing in the deck come up a lot more than you would think. We've got 3 Twin Twisters. This can come in handy for popping your opponent's back row as well as your own Scythe on your opponent's turn. You've got 3 Ash Blossom, because every deck has to be built for best of 1s here. You've got 3 Tour Guide, a Graph, and a Seer, because a Tour Guide is an instant Bardiche, with just like the Burning Abyss monsters. Ancient Cloak at 3, Silent Boots at 3, 1 Ragged Gloves, 3 Stained Greaves. It's really good for pitching to the graveyard or having in your hand when a Phantom Mites is summoned. You have 3 Torn Scales, 2 Raider's Wing. This is a good way to turbo out Dark Rebellion, which you can then make into Dark Requiem on your opponent's turn, which is a disruption, and then also multiple negates of monster effects on your opponent's turn. Monster Reborn is Monster Reborn. Reinforcement of the Armory. The Army. 2 Mass Change number 2, you discard a card, which synergizes well with most of these Phantom Mites cards. They want to be in the graveyard. And then you can turn, say you start with like Ancient Cloak and a whole bunch of nonsense in your hand. You summon the Ancient Cloak, you make Dark Law, and you can actually like pop off from there. Because Ancient Cloak's in the graveyard, gets you a search, yada yada yada. Oh gosh. And then again, I already put the Twin Twisters, your 2 rank up magics based on what materials your monster has. Say you like Fog Blade, Break Sword from the graveyard, and boom, off to the races. 2 each of the Phantom Mites trap cards, except for this one, we have 1 of these. These are revival spells for Phantom Mites as well, and that is really good for extending your combo plays. They can clog your hand, but they're also really good to set and play Phantom Mites trap card control on your opponent's turn to make it back to yours. Of course, in the extra deck, you have the 1 Dark Law, the Utopic Draco Future that you can make with these 2 Leviers, or a Break Sword if you want. If you're going second, more than likely you're going to make Arc Rebellion if you're going second, but that is something you can do. You can use this and Levier to make Utopic Draco Future, because that represents 2 pops, so you've got Bardiche on the field. Then you have Dark Rebellion, of course. This is a bit of a expensive deck as well, because I'm sure you can see all the URs, and the fact that I think Tour Guide is only in the Master Pack. I don't think that Tour Guide's in like a actual like pack like the Burning Abyss monsters are. You got Dagda, which can search your Scythe, Bardiche himself, Apollosa, and of course access code Talker, because there's some links in the deck, and you know you can pop off only on occasions, brother. And finally, I feel like we're only going to have 1 more deck shown here. Another really good one is Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk. And as we've gone on, I know that these decks seem brain dead, but there's a lot of moving pieces in these decks that you have to make sure of that you're doing correctly. Likely, every one of these cards is going to get you some kind of advantage. The spells and traps. Even board breakers like Lightning Storm, which you ideally want to run at 3, and like Dark Ruler you can run at 3 and maybe get rid of the Wing Repitals. But I've found that these come up actually a lot if you start out with birds in your hand. You can make you can Turquoise Warbler, get out any of the other birds, and just pop off with a Wing Requital. At least the once. You draw 2 more cards, you continue your combo plays. So, with all of them being at, 2 and 3, this has actually saved my ass a few times in a ranked duel. So, that is basically what is good. I don't feel like I need to explain Tri-Brigade Lyrillist to you guys. You've seen it all over the meta in the TCG, which this looks different than a TCG deck would. There's no tankies in here, which I probably could take these out and put in tankies, now that I'm thinking about it. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do some live editing just for you guys. Don't say I don't do anything for you. And then we save. So, that is that's the decks that are going to take you, yes, you, to Platinum. They took me to Platinum, and I had a great time doing it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get back to Platinum.